What is up? It's Holden. It's DC. It's JT. So good to see you three gentlemen. We got a little less than an hour to lock. Before we get into things, though, real quick, congrats to all our boys out there in Philly in the DK World Championships, the finals in baseball. I know Hoop is hanging out at home. Maybe JSU made it, but this is huge, DC, for these guys, and hopefully they bring it home so we can get a golf tournament and they have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. We'd be rooting
Yeah.
for these guys anyway, but yeah, we want the free roll in the golf tournament. Big T guaranteed it. Well, not quite, but we'll go with that in
He
the
did.
in the coordinators Discord. So yeah, awesome night of baseball. I'm to be honest a little jealous we're not out there right in Philly with these guys with the competing for the $1 million. But excited for them all. And, really you couldn't have asked for a much better slate. Pitching options all over the place, good weather, tons of games. So, yeah, should be a great night of baseball here.
Okay, JT Hayes, what's up, buddy? How are you? We got a big slate tonight. Looking forward to jumping into it, but it's got to be something on your mind that I haven't brought up yet. Anything good?
No, everything's great. It's Friday. I'm going to the beach tomorrow for a week, so that's going to be nice. And you mentioned it, guys. The live final. We're rooting for them. We've got obviously the coordinators out there, then a couple of subs that made it as well. So hope for a good showing from them this evening. And then we've got football on Sunday. It's going to be a great weekend, Holden, like it almost always is, but in particular this weekend.
I'm just responding to Bobby Gomes. He just asked me how to be better on camera. I said, I got no tips for you. You're screwed, Bobby Gomes. Bobby, if you're watching right now, we'll talk next week, buddy. RPS NFL 15. This promo code is going away by Sunday. So if you haven't gotten in yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. 15% off every month for life. Life of the subscription. If you're alive and we're alive, then you're getting that 15% off. That's all I can say. Or maybe you die and we continue to charge you and nobody catches it, which would, that'd be kind of sad, but it would happen too. Baseball. Let's go talk about pitching tonight, JT Hayes. Mr. Hayes, Robbie Ray locked tonight or no?
Yeah, he's definitely in the mix here in terms of guys. You can't, what else can you say about Robbie Ray? It's 7, 8, 9 starts in a row where he's in the high 20s to 30, over 30 point range. He's up at 10-7, and obviously that's a little bit higher than we've seen him in this run. Can't argue with the matchup against the Orioles at Camden Yards. I don't know if he's going to make my core just because, and it's really more of a game theory reason. He's not going to be not nearly as popular as Ian Anderson, but Framber Valdez projects to come in a little bit lower owned. And I like his matchup just as well. He is at home against the Angels. And the other thing I'm considering with Robbie Ray, and I'll let DC tell me if maybe I'm a little crazy, maybe diving a little bit too much into things here late in the season. The Blue Jays are on the cusp there of perhaps getting back to the postseason. They've got to win most of their games until the end of the year. It's going to be a tight race. And they're going against Chris Ellis tonight. Chris Ellis, underlying metrics, very, very bad. He's been very, very lucky. And I think if the Blue Jays get a big lead, it's a good opportunity for them to rest Ray a little bit, take some pitches out of that arm, especially with them going into Tampa on Monday with games that they need to win. Sets Robbie Ray up for a little bit more rest for his next start, which presumably would be Wednesday. So it's one of the things I'm looking at. And then to round out, what I'm looking at the primary SB1 spot, I do like Tyler Mahle just a little bit here against the Cardinals. Mahle always better on the road than he is at home. He had a really good start against the Cardinals earlier this year, then a poor one. It's a bit of a risk, but I'm thinking about him in my pool. And then talk about Ian Anderson, way too cheap, 6'6". I know people are scared off because he was injured, his recent game logs. No strikeouts, but look, his last 2 starts against San Francisco, a team that doesn't strike out a lot, and then against Colorado in cores where his pitch mix was going to suffer a little bit. I think it's a great bounce back spot for him here against the Marlins team that's been striking out at a 25% clip and just a 118 ISO over the last 3 weeks. So that's kind of the majority of the pool here, I think. There may be a couple of others that I'll look at as well.
DC, anybody that he didn't talk about? Maybe you can get to Robbie Ray.
Yeah, actually, the 2 pitchers I think are going to end up in my core were not mentioned by JT Hayes. So We'll get to them in a moment. Just kind of touching on, some of the guys JT talked about. Ray, I think you kind of nailed it. With the first thing you said is like, what more can you say? I mean, he's had double-digit strikeouts in 10+ games. Pretty good matchup here, obviously in Baltimore, even if it's not the perfect pitching environment, and a pretty weak lineup, especially the second half of that lineup for Baltimore is very, very soft. So I think Robbie Ray will be the chalk here. I think he'll be the most popular pitcher. I think he probably should be, I think is a fair way to say it. So I don't know. I would put Ray maybe coming in at 40% plus owned. I think in higher stakes stuff in the live final, I think you'll see 40% plus on Ray. No problem with playing him. He's a fantastic option, but you will be riding with a lot of other people on an expensive pitcher, right? So he needs to get you 30 plus. And even then you've got a lot of players to beat. So it's just a game theory thing with Robbie Ray. Framber Valdez, I think, is a fantastic option. Of course, seems very, very safe at home against this weak Angels lineup. I'll go to Ian Anderson next. Low team total for Miami. So I think that's kind of going to drive a lot of ownership for Anderson, but I've got my concerns here just about him, the pitcher, not about the matchup. I'm good with the matchup, but Ian Anderson, the pitcher, I mean, what do you miss? 2 months on the IL, comes back. You mentioned the tough matchups, right? One's in Colorado, one's against the Giants. Those aren't easy matchups, no question about it. But what do you have? 6 walks and 0 strikeouts over those 2 starts? Like, that's a little bit hard for me to put my faith in, just how bad he's been since returning. So I'm not going there. I get the play. The 2 guys that I think I'm going to play, one is German Marquez for the Rockies going into Philadelphia. He's been rough recently. So, I'm kind of speaking out both sides of my mouth a little bit after saying Ian Anderson don't want to play him because of his recent results, but I couldn't really find anything wrong with Marquez. The velocity is all there, the movement. I think just a few bad starts in a row. It happens over the course of a long season. So I do expect Marquez to bounce back here on the road in Philly. Really like him at 6,800. And then one guy I'm willing to roll the dice on is Tyler McGill for the Mets. At home here against the Yankees. So a scary matchup for his floor, but I think a pretty good matchup, honestly, for his ceiling. Just a ton of strikeouts to be had against that Yankees lineup with, Sanchez and Gallo and Judge and Gleyber Torres, a pitcher in the lineup. And McGill is a good strikeout pitcher. We've seen the Yankees team total fall all day. It's now sitting below 4. He's been much better at home. And the Yankees, they're not the same team when you get them out of Yankee Stadium, get them into an NL park where they lose their DH. So Tyler McGill, 8,100. I think you'll get him, below 10% ownership, maybe, because he seems a little overpriced, but I really like the spot for him. So yeah, McGill and German Marquez going a little cheaper and a little maybe contrarian a pitcher tonight.
A couple of things on the Yankees. First of all, last 12 games, 3.3 runs per game, and they've only hit 13 home runs in 12 games. So that's not good. And then we'll go to the Blue Jays and Robbie Ray. Him and Garrett Cole struck out 10 plus 9 times this season. I mean, that's 2 pretty interesting stats I think you can apply to this one. We're going to get to the offensive side. JT Hayes, though, I usually get the co-host to tell people what they're getting at RPS NFL 15. So today it's your turn. What are they getting, JT Hayes?
Man, they're getting content every day. Number one, we've got articles or live shows, a live show every single day. It's going to be, I think tomorrow's 2:00 off the chalk, and obviously the Morning Wood Show on Sunday. And we've got a podcast on Tuesday night. There's another podcast on Wednesday. There'll be a week in review. And then, of course, you've got the playbooks, the core plays, the slate strategies, and something new this year. Every slate's going to be covered, not just the main slate and showdown slate, but the afternoon slates on Sunday, right? They split the 2 slates up and create an early slate and a late slate. We're going to have coverage for that, cores for that. It's going to be great stuff. And as you mentioned, RPS NFL 15, it's 15% off of the lifetime subscription. So it's an incredible deal that no other site is offering. It's just incredible, the value here. I mean, some of these other sites here, just for NFL season alone, they're looking for $350 for $85 for the life of your subscription. You get every sport. You get absolutely every sport, and the free and the premium shows like we're on here tonight.
A great point in the chat here as Travis Mangone's in there and Simon. Travis wants to go with you to the beach, JT. And Travis already has a beach house, his grandma's beach house. So do you just want to go on vacation with him?
I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, it's a little, I mean, I like Travis. Travis and I are friends. I don't know why he's publicly asking me that. It's a little bit awkward. Why don't
He
we
also
move on?
just he randomly talked about murder on the show earlier this week too. So
Listen, Travis has a lot of stuff going on in his head, and I'll just leave it at that. I mean, you guys have seen the shows from the kitchen. You've seen the shows from the kitchen.
Well, you don't see all of Mangone unless you remember RPS NFL 15. DC, let's start with you in the offense today, and we'll just get to our favorite stacks. Now, I'm looking at AP's core here. We're not releasing cores. I see a little bit of Milwaukee sprinkled throughout today, is all I'll say. So can you tell me what you think of Milwaukee tonight and then your favorite stack? Because I know they are not your favorite stack.
Yeah, I have no problem with them. I mean, I do think targeting Eli Morgan in general is a good way to go. And this is just one of those nights where, I mean, how many different stacks, JT, do you think you could, reasonably make a case for? At least 10? I mean, right? I would say at least 10, probably more than that. So, of course, you're just not going to be on the, naturally the same team as everybody else. And there's no problem with the Brewers. I mean, they're sitting at a team total climbing near 5 in a good matchup against a pretty bad pitcher. Not a great bullpen behind them if you can avoid the good guys, which if your stack's doing work, you probably will. I just personally don't love like any individual bats that much in the Brewers lineup where I just, and that's kind of how I usually formulate my stacks is like, oh, I like 3 or 4 individual plays from one team. Okay, well, I'll find a fifth, that I think is decent too. So that's just my take on the Brewers, but no problem going there. I mean, there's just so many ways you can go tonight that it's going to be really, really interesting to see where the ownership breaks down. I think, I listed the Blue Jays number 1. It's kind of hard to not start there, I think, right? A team total right around 6. You get a rookie pitcher in Chris Ellis, who just doesn't really appear to have all that much. I know he's been okay in terms of his results. And you get Camden Yards and you get the Orioles bullpen after Ellis. So, you have one of the best lineups and they're kind of top dogs in there. Springer, Semien, Guerrero, Bichette, Hernandez, Alejandro Kirk has been hitting out of the catcher spot. So yeah, you have to love the Blue Jays. And then personally, I never learned my lesson. I make the gambling mistakes all the time where I'm offering free rolls to guys like JT Hayes and I got to shave my head on there and I got to wash Big T's feet. So I never learned my lesson. Listen, I admit it. But I'm going back to the Twins one more time. Listen, they've hurt me. They've been very hurtful to Mr. DC. They haven't come through a lot of people in the premium chat or say, DC, he's back on the Twins. He's sworn off them 3 times already this season. Well, yes, I have. I'm here to admit it, but I got a Twins problem, and there's not that much time left in the baseball season, and I need to get even on the Twins, so I'm going back to them tonight.
All right, JT Hayes. I know you like the Blue Jays a little bit. I'm looking at your core right now being constructed. There's only 3 spots right now, but is it going to be a one-off from Toronto, or are we going to go with multiple players?
No, it's going to be a 5-man from Toronto. Chris Ellis is not just a rookie. DC, you told part of the story very well, but I looked into him a lot. I looked into Ian Anderson a lot today, and I'll touch on that a little bit as well. Chris Ellis was a guy that the Rays gave up on. I've been saying this all season long about players that the Rays give up on. Don't touch them. I don't know when these teams are going to learn. If the Rays don't want a player, there's some pretty good reasons there. And this guy was a player who's a marginal player at best. You mentioned, good results, really good results. His expected ERA is more than 3 runs higher than his actual ERA.
He's not good. I mean,
no, 50% hard contact, a 25% launch angle. This game is in Camden. Weather's a little cooler than obviously it was in the prior months, but this team has been hot. They just put up a bunch of runs in Yankee Stadium against much better pitching. And then, of course, you've got the Orioles bullpen coming in after them. I think this is a smash spot for Toronto. Toronto it's a 13-game slate. They're looking around 10 to 12% ownership. as a stack, and I think that's perfectly fine tonight because I am going to go a little bit with Tampa Bay. And then the other thing, DC, you brought up Marquez. I'm not saying I actually think Marquez is a pretty good play tonight. I think a lot of people are overvaluing Philadelphia and how good Marquez can actually be. I think that price for him is too cheap. In fact, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe he's the pivot off of Ian Anderson in that same price range. But I'm going to look at a couple of one-offs here from the Colorado Rockies, because you look at the worst bullpens. I mean, Philadelphia's bullpen is imploding.
So
this is Coonrad has been fine, the guy who's going to start. He's going to throw an inning, probably not much more. This team put up runs on the Philly bullpen last night. We normally don't target the Rockies on the road. I think they're very sneaky tonight in a matchup against what is going to be, by the end of the season, a bottom 4 bullpen in Major League Baseball.
Ooh.
There's really just no question about it.
Guys, hit the like button. Where are we right now as far as likes goes? 91. So we're going to have to get to 150. Let's go to 150. Let's do it. And we will we'll just be fine. Oh, you know what? We were so busy. I forgot something. Hold on. Let me look at JSU. Do you know who Team Smith is? Any idea? Team Smith wants to give a $50 ticket to the FanDuel single entry. Team Smith, he's gonna Venmo you the money. So why don't we give that away here? JT Hayes, how are we giving this away? I guess listen, I almost forgot. So we got to get this in. We only got 35 minutes, and our boy Team Smith is going to help us. So
Okay.
What do you think? Anything that we could do? Nicest thing they could say about me? Sunscreen choices for your head at the beach? DC's cholesterol after running? What do we got?
DC is running like 25 miles a day.
I know.
It's no joke. I'm impressed. I don't even run that much. That's pretty impressive. Let's maybe talk. Let's have someone tell us what is the best pedometer that DC.
Okay,
could
stop
buy.
it. You know what? Let's
But
get
come
to
on.
150 likes, and then I'll choose somebody right after that. All right, that's the worst. I will never ask you for that again. I'm sorry that I bothered doing that, JT Hayes.
You disgust me, Holden.
Yeah, well, you
can't tell
discussed me too, and now we get to yell at each other every. What night was that? Tuesday night. Yeah, that was fun.
I was kind of planning on a Holden roast show here with JT. I kind of look forward to that.
Nah, me and JT get along.
It hasn't really happened yet, so we gotta pick it up.
It won't happen. Me and JT get along.
Definitely towards the end of the season, one of the last shows, we are just going to abuse you.
That's
for
fine.
45
You know
minutes
what?
And not talk any baseball. We'll be like, here's
Bring
the
it
3
on.
pitchers we like. Here's
Bring it
the 3
on.
stacks. Let's talk about.
No one takes it
Holden.
like I do. No one gives it like I do, JT. Watch out,
Holden,
buddy.
Holden going to play.
And then Uncle T's in there, bitching or moaning again, Mr. Pedo Mustache. I sprint 3 days a week, 50 yards, eat it. Is that Troy? Troy, is that you?
50 yards?
Who is thank you, Holden, LOL? I don't even know what that means.
Beautiful.
You're like running
I
sprints
did,
in your garage or
Mamba
something?
for life. I took down all the posters. It's just blank. It's football season, buddy. I mean, I love baseball, but it's football season, and I can't be talking NFL with the Cubs background. So let's get this going. 150, and you got to get to 150 soon, or we're not going to be able to give it out till Monday, and that's going to be JT Gristle 24 yards to the dispensary. I wish. There's none in my county. I got to go 15 minutes up the road. All right.
Why isn't it? There's no dispensaries in your county? What's the deal with that?
Douglas, man, we're down here. It's it's a little different. A little different area that we're in.
I got one like it's like
We're hoity-toity
2-minute
down
walk.
here.
I've made it many times.
We don't want our kids, smoking the weed out before they're 18. So
Drugs are bad.
I never played FanDuel, but I have an account. I always play DK. I checked my FanDuel balance. It's 1383. Pick me, Holden.
No.
We're gonna have to pick this out very, very soon.
I like Bean Air. He had to withdraw from the contest because he couldn't think of anything nice to say about you, Holden. I resonate with that one.
I love being there. Me and him have a good one. I enjoy him. Any questions? We'll take those too. And then the other thing is, let's get to some secondary stacks and some other plays that we can have, JT Hayes, because here we go again. We got 5 of your core is out there. You mentioned Tampa Bay a little bit or no?
Yeah.
So
I like Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the other team. We normally don't target bullpen games, right? Because the managers can basically strategize and do matchups. But with the bullpens of Detroit and Philly, it matters a whole lot less given the dearth of talent on their pitching rosters. So I like the Rays here. I'm fine with a Rays 5-man stack. Colorado probably keep it more to some one-offs. That's what I'm looking to do now. I'm looking at, is it going to be Ryan McMahon, or am I go with Colton Welker and pay up at that second pitcher slot? I'm actually earlier today right before the show, when I ran some of the lineups, the Opto was actually giving me a small percentage, but a meaningful percentage of McGill. And the more I think about that, I actually don't hate that, especially at that ownership.
Yeah, get on board with McGill.
Especially at that ownership percentage. I think, it's possible I'm looking at either him or Marquez. So it's just a matter of who is going to fit there. If it allows me to get in Ryan McMahon and Blackman, those are my two favorite plays on the Rockies here tonight. I'm willing to take shots on those guys. So, we'll see.
How owned do you think McGill will be? Let's say the DK 15.
The DK 15. I think Anderson's going to be 50% or more, just because of that 6'6" and the popularity. I'll tell you right now what I'm seeing on McGill. Under 20%, which for a pitcher on a 13-game slate.
Yeah.
He's got the fourth or fifth highest projection. And
he's good, man. He gets a lot of whiffs. He's got a good fastball. I mean, he can challenge these Yankees. I don't think he's going to be afraid, especially if this was Yankee Stadium, right? A different story entirely. But at home in that spacious park that he pitches in, you don't have to worry quite so much about the power there, because you can get away with some fly balls, right? You got to really tag one in Citi Field to get it out. So I like McGill a lot.
Yeah, especially with the weather there tonight, wind blowing in about 10 miles an hour. And the biggest thing for McGill, only three lefties in this lineup: Gardner, Rizzo, Gallo. And at the rate that Gallo is striking out, I mean, maybe one of these guys pops one out, but
right,
they just haven't been haven't been hitting. Gleyber Torres has been an automatic out. I mean, it's been tough. And you mentioned they lose the DH. You got to have Montgomery hit until you get him. And they probably need Montgomery the way their starting pitching went in the Blue Jays series. So I think you can count on at least 2 at-bats from him. I think that's a sharp take.
Yeah, I mean, famous last words maybe, but right now you want Gallo in there, right? Because that's strikeout opportunities, and we're aiming for upside. So I'll take the 8% home run risk versus the 45% strikeout chance. That's absolutely a pretty good trade-off.
Kentucky Kid, are you a member? Are you a member, Kentucky Kid? That's my only question. I don't even know if you got to be a member. You should be a member, RPS NFL 15, but I'm going to give you the ticket even if he's not a member. We can give it to a non-member, right, guys? $50 FanDuel ticket?
I didn't see
members only? Okay, members only, guys. So great. I bet you JT had a members only. I bet you anything you had a members only, correct?
Never. That's so hurtful.
Really? They were cool back when you were a kid. Yeah. What's wrong?
I mean, I don't know. We confirmed that you're actually a little bit older than I am. So
I'm younger than you are.
That's
you're
not
40.
true.
How old are you?
That's not true.
You're 47?
That's not true. You're 40. Oh. I'm 48. How old are you?
Right. I'm 47.
The other day you were 49.
No, that was G Rising.
Nah. Anyway, I never did have a members only jacket.
Yeah. I didn't either. We couldn't afford it when I was young.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we got about 5 minutes till we'll give it away. If you're a member, great. If you're not, too bad.
I just want to say congratulations to pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. You grew up poor, and look at you now. You have freaking made it. So I just want to take a moment and say congratulations to Holt.
Thank you. I'm definitely in decline. But, hey, listen, vans are big again, and I had to get my $5 Keds and take a pen out and draw checkers on them. That was a lot of fun, too. Hey, you don't know when you're a kid and you're poor, though. You don't know. So my parents did that very well. I appreciated it. Question about my 4v4 Tampa Bay and KC stack. Worth fading Franco for Nicky Lopez and to play Marquez over Lynch. Thank you. DFS 023. What do you think?
I don't like Lynch at all. So yes, I like Marquez. Well, I mean, I'm stacking the Twins, so I have to start with that. But yeah, I like Marquez more for sure. You can play Lopez over, who was it? Wander Franco. But I mean, if you're stacking the Rays, you want Wander Franco in there, don't you, JT? Like he's been on fire.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Although, what's his? He looks like he's all the way up at 6K tonight.
Yeah. I mean, Nicky Lopez, I think, is a reasonable play. He has been hitting pretty well.
Yeah. I don't know. I know you like the Twins. I don't particularly. I'm not in love with that game. I can see some one-offs from each side. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have the salary, then Lopez is a fine pivot there.
I'm trying to find this here with the $50 entry that we got. All right, we're going to give it away here in just a second. Mamba, if you hit me up in the chat within the next 2 minutes, you got it. If you don't, Candace is going to be next in line. So Mamba, you got 2 minutes to hit me up in Discord, and then that will get you the $50 ticket from Team Smith 007. Love Team Smith 007 for this. We appreciate it very much. So like I said, Mamba, get in there. And if you're not in there, we'll move on to the next one. Did you answer that, JT? I was taking care of this stuff right here. No or yes?
Sort of. The one thing I did write up in the slate strategy was that the lowest that I would go would be Daniel Lynch. Again, not expecting an outlier performance here, but at 5.3, he could get you 12 or 14. And if you wanted to fully stack Jays and Rays or some other expensive offense, I don't think it's terrible. Like I said, I do think some one-offs on the Twins here are okay, but the Twins seem to be very expensive, DC. They seem to be very high.
Listen, we're 25 minutes before lock. I have convinced myself by now that their expensive price tags are a good thing, and because less people will be on the Twins.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, that's fair. I won't argue.
You like it? Everything's good? Beautiful.
We're good.
McGill and Simeon or Ray and Wong? A big single entry.
I would go with one. I would go with one.
You would go with one.
That's what I would go with.
DC, any thoughts on that one?
I'll join.
Especially single entry. I mean, Ray is going to be, I think, much more highly owned than single entry.
Agreed.
Okay. Mamba, you got 1 minute to hit me up or I'm giving it to the next person, buddy. $50 ticket from Team Smith.
Pressure's on.
This is no screwing around here. Like, this is good.
Zip kicker. Tight chip over there, Holden.
Thank you. The zip kicker needs a third baseman and a GPP that's 3.5K or less. I'm thinking it's DK, but I'm not 100% sure.
Third baseman on DK, 3.5K or less. I get why he's asking the question, because there are not a lot of guys I want to play here. Bobby Dahlbeck, I think, maybe against a little bit of a perhaps not the same Carlos Rodon. He's shown huge power recently, so I'd go with him.
Okay. What do you think there, Mr. JT?
You got Welker, the rookie for Colorado, who is 2K. So if you want to punt all the way down to Welker there, I think you can do that.
How much Jared Dyson do you have at the wraparound stack here with the Blue Jays? Any?
Probably not, because if I'm not paying up for both spots at pitcher, he's just not exactly appealing to me.
Okay.
He's fine, but I mean, I'd rather Margot for, I think, $100 more.
Matt S. Let JT know that I seek counsel. Does he like Story or Franco more?
I like Franco quite a bit more personally.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna stick to the lefties on Colorado, so I would say Franco.
You would say Franco because you're going to stick to the lefties. That makes a lot of sense. Ref Snyder on FanDuel, nice play at 2,200. Is this the splits night for Ref Snyder?
Yeah, I like Ref Snyder on both sides. He's been hitting it pretty well. Hitting third in the middle of that Twins lineup for a reason, right? Like Twins are choosing to, have him there over Rooker, who's a pretty good hitter himself. So yeah, I've said my piece on the Twins, but I really actually do like them a lot tonight.
Springer or Cruz is the question from Joe.
Oof.
Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz for me too.
Cruz for you too.
Cruz seems like he's gonna hit a home run tonight, doesn't he, JT Hayes?
It's a really good matchup for him.
Yeah.
Really good matchup.
You like what's going on with little Nelly. DC answered some questions in Discord, so I'll ask you, JT Hayes, any love for Otto on FanDuel to begin with?
No, not on FanDuel.
Okay. Any love for Marco Gonzalez on DK?
The only he did get a significant price downgrade. It is like 60 degrees in that big park in Seattle. He's not a primary target for me. You want to take a risk on him in a tournament, I think that's probably okay.
All right, that's it. No Reds against lefties, DC. No Reds against Lester, I should say. No Reds against Lester, who does it with smoke and mirrors. He just keeps doing it.
Yeah, I mean, does it? I think is giving him a little too much credit. I mean, I still think he's been a profitable guy to target against. Yeah, I love the Reds. I think I listed them third or fourth on the playbook in terms of stacks that I was looking at. It's just the park, right? That's why they'll be lower owned. That's why they have a lower total than you might expect against John Lester. It's just hard to go yard in Busch Stadium in St. Louis. But man, other than that, I mean, I think you'd see the Reds total up near maybe 5.5, 6 if this was in Cincinnati. So the park playing a big factor here, but yeah, I mean, Castellanos, Stevenson, Jonathan India, I think is one of the best second basemen on this slate. So love the Reds and no problem with them at all.
All right. Gavitz, you're a jerk. Nuggets, you're rich. Styes DFS. Hit up our boy at Team Smith 007. The winner here, Team Smith, is Styes DFS. Styes DFS. Gavitz, I love you, man. I absolutely do. But I mean, come on. I after the hurtful things today, I cannot give you the free $50 from our boy Team Smith. So Team Smith, Styes DFS is the winner. You guys get connected, and thank you very much. Here's another member giving away free tickets to other members. I've again never seen anything like this anywhere else ever in the history of the world. Is Mondesi in play? Will he be unowned after an 0 for 16? Boom Shack.
He will not be unowned. He is absolutely in play. He just has, I mean, when he looks bad, he looks just horrible, right? He looks like he can't hit a baseball at times. But then, I mean, he's as likely as anyone to pop off for 40 fantasy points, right? A home run, a couple steals in there. Like, he just has monster games. So absolutely. You got to be willing to, stomach a 0 for a high price player, but the upside's through the roof. No question.
Okay. Congrats, Styes DFS. Make sure you hit up Team Smith 007 so you guys can work that out. We got about 20 minutes to lock.
Let's play a little game. We seem like we got some time here. JT, do you know right off the top what Big T, what he's looking at in this final?
I think earlier.
If you know, then it kind of ruins the game. That's why I asked.
Yeah, So no, not from an offensive standpoint. I think I know the pitching that he's looking at.
Which, I mean, to be honest, we're 20 minutes before lock. I don't think anyone's going to, change their.
Do you think they're watching the show trying to figure it out?
Probably not. I hope not. If I was at the live final,
let's take a stab. Where do we think? We know Big T's going to stack, right? Like, that's just how he plays. So he will have. I feel pretty confident he'll have a 4-4 or a 5-man stack in there. Where do you think he'll go on offense? Which will be his Big T's main team, if you had to guess? This isn't necessarily your favorite team or whatever you're saying.
I think he's going Atlanta, guys.
Right now.
I think he's going Atlanta tonight. I think he's going to play some Braves.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, because he's been coming in with not. I mean, sometimes he'll play the straight chalk, right, which would be probably putting him on the Brewers more so tonight at their prices.
Okay.
So maybe the Brewers and then some of these, maybe some of the cheap Philly guys. I don't know.
He hasn't been on Galvis this year, guys. JT Gristle and Wig 3H. It's interesting.
Galvis was hurt for a bunch of the year, so
yeah. Every time I do a show with him, I'm like, Galvis night. He's like,
okay.
Ray Anderson with Milwaukee, Toronto. There's no way he's playing chalk Milwaukee and Toronto tonight. I think
my guess is the Rays. The Rays
he hates the Rays. He's like, they'll put up 10 runs on singles. There's no way he's playing Rays.
Not outside of home. I think he likes them more.
A little more outside of there.
Yeah, he doesn't like them at home. But Tyler Alexander, I see a little 4-man, little 1 through 4 there for Big T. That's my official prediction. Just totally haven't talked to him today, but that's what I'm going with.
Jacob Olson, what do you think about Haniger as a one-off?
I wasn't really on the Mariners. No, he's a fine play against Madison Bumgarner, but I'm not really on the Mariners in general.
JT Hayes?
Yeah, I actually, it was funny. I was looking at Haniger a little bit, and then realized that it was like 60 degrees out there, and I just didn't want to pay those prices. I don't think he's a terrible one-off though.
Well, there's another way to look at it. The weather report, so DC, we could take any stacks from the teams playing on the West Coast out of it. He's not playing West Coast games.
Well, yeah, we do have some predictions in chat in premium chat. 3 or 4 people have mentioned Nick Ahmed leading off for Arizona. He's got the big platoon, bringing him back to the beginning of the year. I think that makes a lot of sense. That call does. I could see him going with a little Arizona, actually, like Ahmed and Carson Kelly, myself, quite a bit at the top of that Arizona lineup against Marco Gonzalez. Yeah, so the Arizona's prediction. And then, 3 or 4 people were saying he loves the Rays on the road. I bet a lot. Billionaire says, I bet a lot Big T is on the Rays. So a couple people. I
can't see it, guys.
They're going with me. We'll see.
I like the Nick Ahmed call.
Well, what's your official prediction? Mine is the Rays. What is yours, Holden?
I was looking at the
main team.
He doesn't play the Braves very often. What about this Cincinnati game? Let's talk about this for a second.
Well, I can see the Reds. Yeah, I can see that.
Cincinnati, St. Louis.
I don't think there's any shot.
I'm thinking he's going to throw some Reds in there tonight.
I don't think there's any shot he plays.
You're right. He hates Busch Stadium.
All right, so take that out there. What the hell do I know then? I don't know he's playing.
You should. You host shows with him 3 or 4 times a week.
I can't read his mind now. I would just.
Well, I know, but
Toronto's too chalky.
Toronto's
too chalky. I don't think he's going to be targeting Marquez with the Phillies, even though they're out there. The Yankees and the Mets.
He doesn't have the Phillies. No.
Yankees and the Mets. Come on.
No, he's not going to. He's not going to New York. No.
Don't forget, there's also a man that back-to-back nights stacked the Cubs. Milwaukee, Cleveland. He's not going with the chalk there. Atlanta is an interesting play tonight. I think that's interesting, especially in Atlanta. Maybe the White Sox. What do you think, guys?
You just named like every team on the slate. Make your prediction.
Holden,
make your goddamn prediction. What is it?
Braves.
You got Braves. There you go.
All right.
Was that so hard? Was that so painful, Holden?
It was painful. It
appeared to be. It took you 10 minutes to do it.
It did. Is he's on the Braves Brewers stack right there? And maybe White Sox, JT Gristle. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
I don't think think he'll be on the Sox against Tanner Houck. I mean,
okay.
I will. I'm trying to think because I was looking at. I just think, maybe he thinks. I think you can go Toronto. I mean, I just did my lineup, and as hard as I tried, I couldn't get to a 5-man with Toronto without having to play Jake Lamb or Dyson, who I absolutely don't want. And so I ended up with a 4-man of Toronto. So I know he'll probably want a 5 stack. So I think Toronto's pretty, just their lineup makes it pretty tough to 5-man stack tonight. Now, I ended up going Framber with Ian Anderson. So I don't know. Toronto seemed pretty difficult to me unless you want to play two of these 2K guys, which I didn't. But I got a pretty good lineup that has Nelson Cruz in there. It has Semien in there, and I like it. I like it quite a bit.
I could just picture Big T's argument for the Blue Jays too. Why do we got to make it harder than it is? You just play the obvious plays. Blue Jays going left tonight. You know, you can.
Which I mean, honestly, I was sitting here before we got on the show, and I'm going in this, and of course, I'm writing up a slate strategy, and I realized I had already looked at the pitching metrics, and I'm like, this kid Ellis is going to get destroyed. If it doesn't happen, it should happen tonight. If it doesn't happen tonight, it'll happen next time. But the way that the Jays have been hitting, my whole thought process on not using Robbie Ray relies on the Jays putting up a bunch of runs. And I just stopped. I said, I'm going to play the Jays. And I don't care about the 10 to 12 to 13% ownership because it's a 13-game slate. I think that number may be a little bit higher. Maybe a guy like Semien or Vlad comes in at 20, right? And then you look at the secondaries, and it's pretty easy to get them with the Rays and two cheap one-offs. So that's exactly what I did.
Question in the premium chat. Drew, can you ask the guys on an Arizona mini stack with a 5-man Jays?
Yep. And I did just get a message from Big T in the Discord. I won't reveal who he is on, but I do have both of his lineups in front of me right now. And
was any of us right?
I'm not gonna say anymore. But
any of us right?
Not completely.
Okay. Not completely. So yes,
so partially. He's watching the show. He's watching the show at the live final.
He enjoyed my impression of him. So yeah, we got that going for us.
Big T's on Miami to kill a Chalky Anderson. That's interesting. I don't think so. 5-3 Rays Phillies. Just look at DC's face. Do you play a lot of poker, DC?
I have played millions and millions of hands.
All right, so you can't go through that either. I can't read you through that. You'll be you'll be going through it. Hey, JT's talk about your core from top to bottom, please. Because that's out on DraftKings, and I know that we're not giving away our cores, but I still want you to talk about yours.
Yeah. So really, I think, like I mentioned, there's three offenses for me that I think are in premium spots here, right? Starting with the Jays, the talent of their offense against this bad starting pitcher who is overdue to give up some runs here pretty quickly, the bullpen behind it. The Rays against the Tigers in a bullpen game for the fourth worst bullpen in Major League Baseball over the last 3 weeks. And then a one-off there, a couple of one-offs, one in particular from that Rockies team that's very cheap and in a position where I think a lot of people don't realize just how bad the Phillies bullpen has. And you're going to get 9 innings of them, at least, assuming it's not a tie game going into extras. So I like that a lot. I ended up eating more of the chalk pitcher than I thought I would early on. But, a lot of times when I'm doing this during the season, and I try to stay true to those principles, you want to play pitchers like a guy like Ian Anderson or even a guy like Ramon Marquez, not when they're throwing, 3 or 4 ceiling games in a row, 25, 30-point games in a row. You want to catch them on the upswing. Ian Anderson, and I could say the same for Marquez, right? We go into next season. These aren't guys that are going to be in the 6Ks, right? They're not going to be DC. They're not going to be in the 6K range hardly ever. So it's just a huge discount for the talent. And in particular, I just weighed the matchups, and I think Anderson's matchup is a lot better.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that was the thing for me with Marquez, right? Like I'm, researching the slate as I do every morning, and you see a price Marquez, he's clearly much better than a $6,800 pitcher, right? Especially when he's on the road. Decent enough matchup for sure against Philly. And so then the question is, why has he been so bad over these last 4 or 5 starts? You kind of try to dig in, you try to find out, what's been his problem? Why has he not performed well over the last month or so? And I couldn't really find anything, right? It just seems like he just, sometimes you just leave 4 or 5 important pitches over the middle of the zone. They get punished and you have a run of bad starts. And that's what it seems like to me for Ramon Marquez. the Ian Anderson thing, like you definitely could be right. I mean, you're absolutely right that he's way better than this price of a pitcher. The matchup is good for him as well. He's just been so bad since he's returned that it's just hard for me to pull the trigger. But I totally get it in terms of you're buying low, right? That's what you want to do. But you buy low, you sell high, and Ian Anderson, Herman Marquez, two guys that these are as low as price points as you're going to see these guys. For some of their lowest price points of the season. They're lower price points than they'll be next year to start off, and they both have pretty good matchups, so they make a lot of sense.
DC, we got a question on Jose Barrero with the Reds. They put Farmer on the paternity list. So
yeah, Barrero can hit for sure. He's a good play. Yep.
2K?
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't imagine many people are going to be on Barrero tonight.
No, he's a great play today.
Is that a late swap for Big T? Is he going to throw a little Barrero in there at the last second? I don't know. I don't know. Should I be rooting for Big T or any of our guys? Because then I really do have to
with you.
Because now I have to get on a flight. Now I have to get on a flight and leave my house if they win.
I mean, you didn't do it the last time.
Well, yeah, but now I committed to it. I never committed to that one. This one I said I'm flying out for the golf tournament. JT Hayes.
Personally, when my friends and coworkers have a shot,
I'm going to end up rooting for them. I'm going to end up rooting for them. But
you should be rooting. First of all,
it went through my mind for about 10 seconds and it came out of my mouth.
You should be rooting for, I think there's 5 or 6 guys, coordinators, owners, and then members of RPS at the live final. You should be rooting for a sweep of the top 10. This is incredible, Holden. It's oof. You're disloyal. You're disloyal. Yeah. You're a traitor.
Well, I was disloyal for 10 seconds. I was just thinking out loud.
You're changing your mind now?
Oh, I changed my mind.
The fact that it even
after I said it.
That it has never once crossed my mind today to not be rooting for the RPS.
Because you didn't say I'll fly out to Cincinnati if you win. I was like, now I look at it, I go, what did I get myself into? I got to fly cross country.
It's a beautiful flight.
It's a horrible flight.
Easy.
We can fly together. We'll sit right next to you, Holden. It'll be great.
Flying out of Denver is always a bitch too, because you're bouncing around. Go Big T, go Hoop, go JSU. Who else is in there from
your AP?
The man is in there. The man.
Who?
Just complain about the turbulence
Magnus?
in Denver.
The
Who's
man.
Magnus.
The man. That's his screen name. The man is in
the
there.
Man is in it?
Nice
Who else
Stars
is in
there. There you go.
Who else is in it?
I just named like 6
That's
guys.
it?
Glaucoma, right?
Glaucoma's in it? Okay.
He might be.
Glaucoma just said I wouldn't show up for lunch. But I'm telling you something, man. I'm telling you something. I got to leave the house if he wins. So you know what? Go win, Big T. I need to get the hell out of here. I need to get out of my house. I need a good reason to do it, despite the fact that I'm running the snow cone machine for charity tonight. I need to go farther away from my house. All right. So go win it, guys. Somebody bring it home.
Maybe
that's about it.
Maybe you're scared to fly because growing up you were so poor, your family could never.
I love flying. I love flying.
This is why you dress so simply. I mean, you dress so you're a man of humble beginnings.
Correct.
Almost. Is it true you were a monk for a few years? Is that true? You were.
No. I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't have sex. So
yeah.
Was that before or after you had the #1 radio show out in?
Kind of like that, but not 100% monk. Like, don't you have to have like beliefs in something? And I have no belief in anything except for the fact that I believe I don't want to leave my house. Outside of that, I got nothing, buddy.
You like just sitting in your house all day? That's I don't know.
It's a lot of fun. I got a lot going on here. Right. You have no idea.
One way to live.
Run through a brick wall. We're rooting for you to make it through. 3.5K catcher draft cheat.
Nice transition there. Give me a moment. I thought we were just, I thought it was the whole.
You might want to do your job, DC. That's what you're here for.
Don't get me started on that. Tom Murphy would be my 3.5K catcher.
Tom Murphy tonight.
There you go.
Ooh. All right, Tom Murphy it is. I wouldn't even build the bookshelf. You expect me to get on a plane for some friends. I'm telling you, dude, these guys bring home 6 figures. I'm there. There doesn't even have to be a golf tournament. I will just show up. You know what? The person I'll probably show up to is Hoop's house because I feel worse about not showing up to see Hoop. That's what I feel bad about when they came to town, but it's his fault.
I'm sure he'd be excited.
He would be. He said I was the one he was most excited to see when he came out here. Not you, me. Of course, me and the hoopster right there. Agnostic agoraphobe. It happens. You guys are so mean. At least with a woman. Correct. All right. Are we just done here? We're not stopping before the end of the show. So if you guys have any questions, you got 3 minutes to get it in, like CC Kings, Teoscar and Kirk, or Duvall and Darno.
I gotta go with one. I'm on the Jays. I mean,
I like the Blue Jays side better as well.
Yeah, we're all on the Blue Jays tonight. Whose offense? Remember that 2-week span where they couldn't do anything? That's over. Those dudes are absolutely crushing. Murphy over Narvaez? Yeah. Will I be the caddy? No, butthole. I'm going to hang out with G Rison, and we're just going to take our time going through the 18 holes. It's going to be very nice, and we'll just walk right through. It's going to be the best time I've ever had in my life, and that's all I can say. That's all I can say. Who's winning it tonight, DC? Which one of our guys is finishing highest?
You know, we talked a lot about Big T's squads. So I've seen his lineups. They look strong to me. Big T clearly in contention. No surprise there. But I'm gonna go with AP. I'm making the call on AP. Even though I'm not on the same player as he is in our core, but maybe I should be if I'm predicting him to win. But I'm an idiot, so I'm not. But yeah, I think AP is gonna take this one down.
JT Hayes.
It's tough.
I know.
I mean, I will say those are some excellent tournament lineups, are they not, DC? Those are pretty impressive. I'm going to go with a dark horse here. Hoop's been on a heater. I think. I think 4 of our guys are going to finish in the top 10, and I think it's going to be Hoop, and one of the other 2 guys are going to be in second. I think that's what's going to happen.
I'm going to go with Hoop too. He's on the heater right now. You don't mess with a guy on a heater. I mean, Big T's heater has been like 2 years.
Yeah, it's gone on. He's going to make a ton of money, whether or not it's first or third or second. Yeah. Whatever.
I'm going to go Hoop. Hoop's got to be the guy. AP, I like his core too. Springer, Barrero, or Yelich, Nicky Lopez from the Squid. Springer, Barrero, Yelich, Mickey Lopez.
I like the first one quite a bit better.
Okay. And you got the Myers or Luplo one, so that's good.
Yep.
And the Billionaire is going with the man 11. He thinks a subscriber takes it down. So here's the next question. If a subscriber takes it down, do we still get the golf party?
If they want to host, yeah, we'll show up to their place.
Oh, they got a host?
They got a host. Yeah. You win
okay. All right. Well, listen, one of our guys needs to win 100K. I am ready to get out of my house. I'll be completely.
That's not so much. That's not too much to ask. You shipped $1 million. You host a golf party. I think that's a fair ask. Nothing I love more than spending other people's money. I'm an expert at it at this point.
Well, that's why I'm trying to get our guy to JSU takedown. Corey Holt's going with JSU. Uncle T's going with his nephew just because of nepotism. That's fine, Uncle T. We really don't value your opinion.
He's trying to get that inheritance from Big T. He's gonna
could you imagine that? Your uncle is like trying to get in on the will as it stands right now. Sick individual. Absolutely sick individual. JT, any final news? And then where are we going to have the link to the contest?
Yeah, the link I'm not sure of. Definitely good luck to them and good luck to everybody watching tonight.
DC, where's the link?
I'll look for it. Otherwise, I'm sure you can find it on the DraftKings website somewhere. But I'll try to find it and I'll post it in the chat if I can.
All right, Sam is going with AP. Sam just hit the other night too. She just hit. So congratulations, Sam. All right, let's go. One of our guys got to bring it home. If not, at least win 100K. We'll be disappointed if they don't. To be honest with you. Just too good. They've been too good this season. And then we got NFL on Sunday. RPS NFL 15% off your monthly subscription for life. Just taped the show with Tambo and Bobby Gomes, the weekend news dump. Basically took all the injury reports, talked about the injuries and the DFS implications. So if you are looking for some more content, the weekend dump, we just did that one. JT Hayes sucking down a Coca-Cola. It's because he lives in Atlanta. That's all they have there. They call soda Coke. I'm going to have a great weekend. DC, final thoughts, and then why don't you tell Simon to get us out of here, man?
Yeah. First and foremost, best of luck to all our coordinators and members in that DK Live final kicking off right now. And 2 of the 3 of us, at least on here, are hoping one of you guys takes it down. Golf tournament or not, rooting for our friends and supporters and all that stuff. So good luck to everyone there and everyone else watching, of course, too, in your own lineups. And yeah, this feels like not officially a holiday weekend, but it's pretty much a holiday weekend with NFL coming up on Sunday. We got tons of content. I'll have my article out tomorrow. Millie Maker Roundtable tomorrow with Bobby Gomes and Snyder. That'll be fun. And then on to Sunday. So yeah, I'm excited for the weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody. And Simon, get us out of here.